A few weeks ago, it was only a rumor that a joint National Guard task force was being created and positioned at the capital area with the secret mission of enforcing martial law in Washington, D.C., and assisting lawmakers and top government officials to leave town if things get out of hand. But by now, this force is 10,000 soldiers strong and is at a 24/7 vigilance. The Joint Task Force National Capital Region reports directly to the Secretary of Defense. Members of the Illinois 106th Aviation Battalion were assembled under a federal statute that placed them directly under the Secretary of Defense's orders. Alongside with the soldiers, several Black Hawk helicopters were shipped out of Illinois' Armory, Decatur, last month. A local Illinois newspaper provided one of the first hints of this undercover mission after reporting about the convocation of Illinois National Guard forces who were being deployed at Fort Belvoir outside Washington, D.C. The report noticed that the unit had been delegated to do some pretty unusual tasks, such as evacuating officials, lawmakers, and members of the judiciary aboard 106th Aviation Regiment helicopters. Consequently, it is known that the Illinois 106th Aviation Battalion helicopters will be used to evacuate everyone, from Army leaders to White House members, as Captain Adam Kowalski of the Illinois Guard states, and I quote, "We are that quick reaction force that allows us to help mobilize forces within the Washington, D.C. area, evacuate people, or whatever that might be. We're kind of like that big taxi cab that makes sure everyone gets where they need to be and keeps the government going." Sounding as if they have already figured everything out and they're only waiting to strike. It's said that the soldiers and commanders in the unit have been studying the Joint Emergency Evacuation Plan, the JEEP or JEEP, a national plan to move Defensive Department officials to alternative locations outside the Washington area, and Atlas, that's a project that designates the procedures for the movement of civilian leaders, ensuring the survival of legislative and judiciary members. On the other hand, it's thought that when the situation becomes extreme, these contingency measures won't probably be helpful, as a senior military officer working on government emergency plans declared, saying, "No one wants to talk evacuation. Under a declaration of martial law, constitutional freedoms and liberties are suspended, and civilians are no longer entitled to their civil rights. So, democracy is put aside, and the government becomes tyrannical, revoking the Constitution and imposing its will through military force." You have to consider that probably the actual words martial law will never be used. The first thing that's likely to happen is a declaration of a state of emergency, suspending certain laws, confiscating firearms, and suspending the sale of items such as liquor, firearms, and ammunition. It's only a matter of time until social unrest, crime, and violence become a regular reality due to this health crisis and home confinement we're all facing. Many would say that we're actually already under a form of martial law. We have standing armies policing our citizens. We have drones, we have armored vehicles, high-power weapons, tanks, and battlefield helicopters in what can only be described as a domestic military force or standing army meant to enforce federal law. If you ask, how likely is martial law in the United States from where we are standing? It's already here. Just think about it. The United States of America has become such a powerful institution that it is enslaving its own citizens without them even realizing it.